Hey everybody, this is HD. Welcome back. This is going to be the Tuesday HD Daily Ladder Show, and it is going to be a Zerg versus Protoss. I know I said I was going to either do a Terran game, or I was going to do the final matchup that I haven't done for Zerg yet, which was Zerg versus Protoss. And I was playing some Terran earlier today. I did finally make an account. I can't wait till you guys see the name. I think it's kind of fruity, but whatever. I think it's a cool name, sort of. I played a couple of games, but I unfortunately lost one of my placement matches, so it put me in the Gold League. And I don't know if you guys want to really see me play against Gold players, so I'm thinking I'll wait until I'm actually in the Platinum at the very least. So what is that? That's one more rank after Gold. So yeah, I think hopefully the next Daily Ladder, which will be Wednesday, will actually be the Terran games. And then I'll go ahead and start doing the Protoss games. So this is going to be a Zerg versus Protoss. Also, one more thing. I know that a lot of you guys are probably watching this right now, and it's already Wednesday. And that's because I just started doing this game at around like Tuesday night, and it takes forever to upload this video. So my Comcast is, for me, is really bad. I'm not going to say it's bad for everybody, but for me, it's quite slow, and so it takes a long time to upload these videos. I'll try to start doing them in the morning, but you know, as a gamer, it's hard to wake up that early. So anyways, it is going to be a Zerg versus Protoss here. It is going to be against CSO Yuki. And this guy actually played right before this game. He did actually beat me. It was on Jungle Basin, which I'm not too fond of for Zerg versus Protoss. But he did actually beat me, and it looks like he's going to be doing the good old pylon block at my ramp. Now, a lot of times these days, Zerg players will actually put a drone right at the ramp as soon as they see a forge opening from the Protoss. Unfortunately, my drone got over to his base as soon as my opponent CSO Yuki decided to start throwing pylons up, so I wasn't able to block my ramp in time. So this is actually a pretty big setback if you're a Zerg. And I know you guys, if you guys are familiar with the new patch changes upcoming, they will actually make it require 3 pylons to block a ramp rather than 2. And I guess that's because Blizzard thinks that this is too powerful of an opening for Protoss. For 200 minerals, you basically delay the hatch for a very long time. And you don't really allow the Zerg to get that natural up, which one base Zerg versus one base Protoss is kind of suicidal. So yeah, this is a very big setback. If you let a Protoss get this kind of opening on you, you're really down to 2 options. Either you try to catch up slowly but surely by using a spine crawler and poking your way out and then getting your natural, but then you're gonna have to actually figure out a way to get a 3rd expo really fast and play and catch up in the macro game, or you're kind of forced into an all-in situation. So hopefully this is the last of the double pylon blockades we'll see for a while once Blizzard implements their new patch. But for now, it is still a viable opening for Protoss versus Zerg. So if you're in this kind of situation and you're caught with your pants down like this, like I am right now, throw a spine crawler up, and with your very first queen, you should actually spawn the creep tumor so you can spread the creep towards your ramp. Unfortunately, out of instinct, I actually spawned larva first. So I'm a little bit delayed on spreading my creep, and my crawler is actually going to take a while to get all the way down there till it can start poking those pylons. So as a Zerg player, you can try to do the catch up, or you can try to kind of just go all out, just all in one base play. And as a Protoss, keep doing this build. This is an amazing build versus Zerg. Throw those 2 pylons up, throw a pylon up in the natural, screw up the Zerg's opening, because it's very difficult as a Zerg player to, if your opening build is kind of shaken and the foundation is taken off of its base, then it's very difficult for Zerg to play the way they like to, the macro style game, the long-term gameplay. So at this point, I was thinking, all right, I'm actually really far behind. My opponent still doesn't have his natural expansion up, and it looks like though he's investing more money into cannons. So this is actually an exploit that I can actually take advantage of. My opponent is spending a ton of money on cannons. He's trying to keep me inside one base. So if he's spending all this money on cannons, obviously his Nexus is going to be delayed. Obviously everything else is going to be delayed, and there comes his Nexus right now. Very much delayed. So if you're in this situation and your opponent's going to start building all these cannons, really it's not cost effective to try to bust out of this. Your best option from here on out is just go for the Nidus. or go for one base Mutas. So my strategy here, one base Nidus, or I guess you could call it a 2-hatch Nidus, as I do have another hatchery going down over there to the left. And basically this is going to be a Nidus strategy. I'm too far behind now. My opponent's already grabbed his natural. I'm not going to spend money and resources to try to bust out. I'm just going to try to end the game with this Nidus Worm. And if you guys actually saw my video I uploaded a couple months ago versus Dopa, this is actually going to be a very similar strategy. So notice I do have speed already upgraded for Speedlings, I have Roach Warren out, and I have Banelings. So I'm going to actually enter this Nidus with a lot of different forces, a variety of units. If you only come in with one type of unit, you can easily be countered if your opponent's got mass stalkers or if he's got a ton of probes and surrounds your Nidus Worm. So Banelings obviously deal with probes very easily, and Roaches will deal with zealots, and then Zerglings will deal with stalkers. So you get a nice variety, a nice mix, and then you just kind of chuck them in the Nidus Worm. Right now I'm waiting for 100 gas, and then I'm going to throw the worm down. Note on the minimap, I have my Overlords in position. I'm ready to throw down the Nidus. My opponent already scouted. He's got a pylon down to the south. So I'm going to go ahead and Nidus into the second spot where my Overlord is. And if you're going for this Nidus strategy, yes, it's kind of all in. Yes, it is actually completely all in. If you're going to do this, make sure you have more than one Overlord. Otherwise, you might not get the Nidus in. So I have 2 Overlords here. I got all my forces in. And I'm going to tell my Banelings to go straight for Yuki's probes. And thankfully, luckily for me, he actually pulled the probes towards my army. So that was a bit of a mismanagement from him right there. Actually cost him a lot of income. And yeah, this right here, this is my only shot to get back in this game because Yuki has opened up with a very powerful build. This is my only chance to win from here on out. So notice on the bottom of the screen right now, I'm constantly pumping more units out of my 2 hatcheries. My 2 hatcheries are rallied into my Nidus Worm. So as soon as units spawn out, they go straight into the Nidus, and all I have to do is keep my attention focused on the battle and just push D on the Nidus, and all my new units will instantly flood out of the Nidus Worm. So this is pretty much all in right here. Yuki also knows this is all in. This is super cheesy, but you know, when you're in this kind of position, really your options, like I said, are quite limited. So I am going to be able to take out his Nexus here, which is now going to make it 1 base to 1 base. I've got a much better advantage now. I'm still flooding in more units, and I'm going to try to get these pesky stalkers out of the way. Force fields, you don't want to be caught with your opponent having a bunch of sentries and force fields. So notice I am constantly spawning more units, spawning larvae with my queens, and it looks like I've been able to kill off most of the infrastructure inside the Protoss main. I've even killed off that pylon. I've also killed off the Cyber Core first. Killing off that Cyber Core, of course, means that my opponent can't make any more stalkers, can't make any more sentries, so that is huge. And it looks like Yuki actually has 2 Stargates. So that could be a problem. So I want to get more queens. I want to get Hydralisk Den out now, and we get Evo Chambers because I don't want a bunch of Void Rays coming. I have absolutely no anti-air right now, so I definitely need to make sure that I can deal with that. It looks like this is going to be the final push here. My Zerglings are trying to get down the ramp. I do have the Roach Vision on the high ground, so I'm going to be able to pick off a lot of these units on the top. And thankfully, I've got a lot of Zerglings here. They're just kind of trying to eat their way forward. Looks like these last 3 Zealots are going to be the final units. And finally, my Zerglings are able to get in there. And it looks like I'm going to be able to just barely take this game. And so, very, very close game right there. Yuki opening up very powerfully. Really, the only thing is he just didn't catch the Nidus Worm. If you're a Protoss player and you're going to do this build against Zerg, just make sure you've got stuff everywhere around the perimeter of your base. Don't let a Nidus happen. If you can shut down the Nidus, then that's pretty much going to be GG for the Zerg player. So, obviously, this was kind of I guess you could say my mistake for allowing Yuki to get those pylons up. As a Zerg player right now, pre-patch, really, maybe you just kind of want to get that drone at the ramp always, no matter what. Just put a drone patrolling on the ramp, even if you haven't scouted the forge yet, and keep it there until you get into your opponent's base with your scouting drone, and you see if they have a forge or not. But it looks like Yuki's going to GG out. We were actually 1-1, I believe. He beat me last game, and so I kind of cheesed him back this game. But You know, cheesing still definitely an option in ladder. You don't always want to play macro style long-term games because then your opponents will always think that, you know, you're never going to go all in, you're never going to cheese. So it's kind of like poker. If you play the same style over and over and over again, people will get used to it and they'll be able to take advantage of you. So thanks a lot for tuning in, guys. HD going to be signing out here. We're going to have the HD Daily Wednesday coming up soon. I'll try to get this actually on Wednesday. I'll try to get it done and rendered and uploaded before 12 a.m. Thursday. So thanks a lot, guys. HD going to be signing out here, and continue staying tuned.